Rich man marries a fast food cashier. What she does on their wedding night is unbelievable. The clock struck midnight as Ryan pushed open the door of the small fast food restaurant. The fluorescent lights buzzed softly, casting a faint glow on the polished linoleum floor. Mia stood behind the counter, her hair tied back in a neat ponytail and a tired but genuine smile on her face. It was late, and the place was nearly empty except for a few stragglers finishing their meals in the corner booths. "Welcome," Mia said brightly, her voice cutting through the quiet. "What can I get for you?" Ryan hesitated, his mind still reeling from the argument he'd just had with his father. It had been about the same thing as always, expectations. His father's voice still echoed in his ears. "You'll do as you're told, Ryan. This family has an image to uphold." Ryan looked at the menu above Mia's head, but the words blurred together. He wasn't really here for the food. He just needed to escape, to be anywhere but his family's suffocating mansion. "Just a coffee," he said finally, his voice rough. Mia nodded, quickly punching the order into the register. "Rough night?" Ryan glanced at her, surprised by the question. Most people in his world avoided personal remarks, sticking to polite formalities. But there was no judgment in her tone, only curiosity. "You could say that," he replied, his lips twitching into a faint smile. Mia returned the smile as she poured the coffee. "Here you go," she said, sliding the cup across the counter. "Hope it helps." Ryan took the coffee and found a seat near the window, his thoughts swirling. He hadn't expected the cashier to notice him, let alone strike up a conversation. There was something refreshing about her, something real. Over the next week, Ryan found himself returning to the same fast food restaurant. At first, he told himself it was the convenience, it was close to his apartment, and the coffee wasn't half bad. But deep down, he knew it was more than that. It was Mia. She was always there, her bright smile and easy demeanor a stark contrast to the artificial politeness of the people in his social circle. Ryan began to look forward to their brief interactions, the way she would ask about his day or crack a joke as she handed him his order. It was the kind of connection he hadn't realized he was missing. One night, as the restaurant neared closing, Ryan lingered at the counter instead of taking his usual seat. Mia raised an eyebrow as she wiped down the register. "You're here late," she said. "Not that I'm complaining. You're my most polite customer." Ryan chuckled, running a hand through his hair. "Long day. This place is starting to feel like a second home." Mia laughed, the sound light and genuine. "Well, I'm glad we can offer some comfort, along with the mediocre coffee." Ryan smirked, leaning against the counter. "It's not that bad." Mia tilted her head, studying him. "You don't really seem like the fast food type. What brings you here so often?" He hesitated, unsure how to answer. How could he explain that he came here to escape the weight of his family's expectations, to find a moment of peace in a world that constantly demanded more of him? "Let's just say I needed a change of scenery," he said finally. Mia nodded, accepting his vague response without pressing further. "Well, you picked a good spot. We're not fancy, but we're consistent." Ryan smiled, appreciating her straightforwardness. Consistency sounds pretty good right now. As the days turned into weeks, their conversations grew longer. Ryan learned about Mia's life, how she worked long hours to support her younger brother, how she dreamed of going back to school one day but could never seem to find the time or money. She spoke with a quiet resilience that Ryan found admirable, even humbling. In turn, Mia learned bits and pieces about Ryan's world, though he was careful not to reveal too much. He downplayed his wealth, framing his struggles as more universal than they really were. But Mia saw through him in ways that others didn't. "Your problems sound complicated," she said one night, her tone teasing but kind. "But at the end of the day, you've got to figure out what makes you happy. Otherwise, what's the point?" Ryan stared at her, taken aback by the simplicity of her words. In his world, happiness was a commodity, something people pretended to have while chasing power and influence. But Mia spoke about it as if it were something attainable, something real. "I'm not sure I know what that is," he admitted softly. Mia's gaze softened. "Maybe you just need to stop looking in the wrong places." Over the next few weeks, Ryan found himself spending more time at the fast food restaurant than he ever imagined possible. Mia's presence became something he looked forward to, a steadying force amidst the chaos of his family's demands. It wasn't just her warmth or her humor, it was the way she seemed so grounded, so sure of herself despite the challenges she faced. One evening, as the restaurant was winding down for the night, Mia noticed Ryan staring out the window, lost in thought. She finished wiping down the counter and approached his table, her apron still tied around her waist. "Everything okay?" she asked, sliding into the seat across from him. Ryan blinked, startled by her directness. "Yeah, just thinking." Mia raised an eyebrow, leaning her elbows on the table. "Dangerous habit. What's on your mind?" He hesitated, unsure how much to reveal. But something about her made it impossible to keep up the usual pretense. "My family," he said finally. "They have all these expectations for me. Who I should marry, what I should do, how I should live my life." Mia nodded, her expression thoughtful. "Sounds exhausting." "It is," Ryan admitted. "I feel like I'm always being judged. Like nothing I do is ever good enough." Mia tilted her head, studying him. "So why do you keep trying to meet their expectations? Why not just live your life the way you want?" Ryan let out a bitter laugh. "It's not that simple." "Why not?" Mia asked. "I mean, sure, it's scary to go against the grain, but if you're not happy, what's the point?" Her words struck a chord, echoing the thoughts that had been circling in his mind for years. "You make it sound so easy." "It's not easy," Mia said with a small smile. "But it's worth it." For a moment, they sat in silence, the weight of her words hanging between them. Ryan realized he'd never met anyone like her, someone who could see through the facade and speak the truth without hesitation. "You're pretty wise for someone who works at a fast food joint," he said, his tone light but sincere. Mia laughed, shaking her head. "Don't let the uniform fool you. I've seen enough in my life to know what matters." That night, as Ryan drove home, Mia's words replayed in his mind. He thought about his family, their endless demands, and the life he'd been trying so hard to fit into. For the first time, he began to wonder if he was living for them or for himself. The next day, Ryan decided to take a stand. He skipped a family event, a lavish gala his parents had insisted he attend, and instead showed up at the fast food restaurant with a bouquet of flowers. Mia was at the counter, her hair tucked behind her ears, when he walked in. Her eyes widened in surprise as he approached. "What's this?" she asked, glancing at the flowers. Ryan shrugged, a small smile tugging at his lips. "Just wanted to thank you. For being you." Mia's cheeks flushed, but she quickly recovered, her usual humor shining through. "If this is a bribe for extra fries, it's working." Ryan laughed, handing her the bouquet. "No bribe. Just appreciation." She took the flowers, her smile softening. "You didn't have to do this." "I wanted to," he said simply. For the rest of the evening, their conversations felt lighter, more open. Ryan told her about his decision to skip the gala, how he was beginning to push back against his family's expectations. Mia listened, her encouragement quiet but steady. As their bond grew stronger, Ryan's family began to take notice. His absence from events, his growing distance, and the rumors about his frequent visits to a fast food restaurant didn't go unnoticed. One evening, his father confronted him in the study, his voice sharp and authoritative. "Is it true?" his father demanded. "You're spending your time with some cashier?" Ryan met his gaze, his jaw tightening. "Her name is Mia. And yes, I am." His father scoffed, shaking his head. "Do you have any idea how this looks? You're embarrassing yourself, and this family." "I'm living my life," Ryan said firmly. "Something you've never allowed me to do." "This is unacceptable," his father snapped. "You have a responsibility to this family. To the name." Ryan's chest tightened, but he held his ground. "Maybe I don't want to carry that responsibility anymore. Maybe I'm done living my life for you." The words hung in the air, heavy with finality. His father stared at him, his expression unreadable, before turning away. Later that night, Ryan went to see Mia. She was locking up the restaurant when he arrived, her brother waiting in the parking lot. Ryan hesitated, unsure how to explain everything that had just happened. "Hey," Mia said, noticing his expression. "You okay?" "I told my father," Ryan said, his voice quiet. About us. Mia's eyes widened. What did he say? Ryan let out a humorless laugh. Exactly what I expected. He's furious. Mia frowned, crossing her arms. Ryan, I didn't ask you to do that. I know, he said quickly. But I had to. I can't keep living like this, hiding how I feel, pretending I'm okay with their plans. I care about you, Mia. More than I've cared about anyone in a long time. Mia's breath caught, but she quickly shook her head. Ryan, this is your family. Your world. I don't want to come between you and them. You're not, he said, stepping closer. They've been controlling me for years. You've shown me that I don't have to let them. Mia looked at him, her expression torn. This isn't just about you. People like me, we don't fit into your world. Then maybe I don't want to be in that world anymore, Ryan said. I want to be where you are. Mia's heart raced at Ryan's words, but she forced herself to stay grounded. She had spent her entire life trying to survive, to keep her brothers safe, to make ends meet. The idea of stepping into Ryan's world, a world full of judgment, wealth, and expectations, terrified her. You don't mean that, Mia said quietly, shaking her head. You don't know what you're asking for. I know exactly what I'm asking for, Ryan said, his voice steady. I've spent my whole life doing what my family wanted, trying to live up to their standards. But it's never made me happy. You make me happy, Mia. She looked at him, her eyes searching his face for any hint of doubt. But all she saw was sincerity, a determination that made her heart ache. This isn't just about us, Ryan. Your family won't stop. They'll come after me. After my brother. Then let them, Ryan said firmly. I'm not going to let them control my life anymore. And I won't let them hurt you. Mia's brother, Daniel, stepped out of the car, his curiosity piqued. Is everything okay? He asked, glancing between them. Mia gave him a reassuring nod. Yeah, Danny. Just give me a minute. Danny hesitated but eventually got back into the car, leaving Mia and Ryan alone in the cool night air. She turned back to Ryan, her expression conflicted. This isn't fair to you, she said softly. You're risking everything. I'd risk it all for you, Ryan said without hesitation. I know it won't be easy, but I don't care. I want to build a life with you, Mia. One that's ours, not theirs. Mia felt tears prick her eyes, but she quickly blinked them away. You're crazy, you know that? Ryan smiled, a flicker of hope lighting up his face. Maybe. But I'm okay with that if it means being with you. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Ryan's family didn't take his defiance lightly. His father froze his bank accounts, his mother spread rumors through their social circles, and their lawyers even tried to dig into Mia's past, searching for anything they could use against her. But Ryan remained steadfast. He moved out of his family's mansion and into a modest apartment, determined to prove that his love for Mia wasn't tied to his wealth or status. Mia, though wary of the attention, found herself drawn deeper into his world. Not the world of luxury and privilege, but the one he was building for himself. One evening, Ryan took Mia out for a quiet dinner at a small Italian restaurant he had discovered. The cozy ambience, warm lighting, and the faint hum of conversation made it the perfect escape from the chaos surrounding them. As they finished their meal, Ryan reached across the table, taking Mia's hand in his. I know things have been overwhelming lately, but I want you to know that I've never been more sure about anything in my life. Mia looked down at their intertwined fingers, her heart pounding. Right, this isn't easy for me. I've spent my whole life fighting to survive. I don't know how to just let myself trust that this will work. Ryan's grip on her hand tightened slightly. You don't have to figure it all out right now. Just take it one step at a time, with me. Before Mia could respond, Ryan pulled a small box from his pocket and placed it on the table. Her breath caught as he opened it, revealing a simple but elegant ring. I know this feels fast, Ryan said, his voice soft but unwavering. But I don't want to wait. I want you to know how serious I am about us. Mia, will you marry me? Mia stared at the ring, her emotions a whirlwind of fear, hope, and disbelief. Ryan, I don't know what to say. Say yes, he said gently. Say yes, and we'll figure the rest out together. Tears spilled down Mia's cheeks as she nodded, a small, shaky smile breaking through. Yes, she whispered. Yes. Ryan's face lit up, and he slipped the ring onto her finger before pulling her into a tight embrace. For the first time in years, Mia felt a glimmer of something she thought she had lost, a sense of hope. Their engagement was met with a firestorm of backlash from Ryan's family. His mother called it a temporary rebellion, convinced he would come to his senses, while his father issued an ultimatum: call off the engagement or be permanently cut off from the family fortune. Ryan didn't hesitate. He chose Mia. The couple planned a small, intimate wedding, far removed from the lavish ceremonies Ryan's family was known for. Mia's close friends and her brother, Danny, stood by her side, offering unwavering support. Ryan, for his part, made it clear that this was about them and no one else. On their wedding night, after the whirlwind of the day had settled, Mia and Ryan sat together in their small apartment. The space was modest, but it was theirs, a symbol of the life they were building together. As Ryan poured them each a glass of champagne, Mia excused herself, disappearing into the bedroom for a few minutes. When she returned, she held a small, weathered envelope in her hands. "What's that?" Ryan asked, curious. Mia sat beside him, her expression serious but warm. "It's something I've been working on for a long time. I wanted to wait for the right moment to tell you." She handed him the envelope, and he opened it carefully. Inside was a letter and a receipt for a large payment. As Ryan read, his eyes widened. "You paid off Danny's college tuition?" he asked, looking up at her. Mia nodded, her eyes glistening. "He's the only family I have left. He's worked so hard, and I didn't want him to miss his chance. I've been saving every penny I could, even before we met. And now, it's done." Ryan stared at her, overwhelmed by the depth of her love and selflessness. "Mia, you didn't have to do that. You've already given so much." "It's not about what I've given," she said softly. "It's about what he deserves. And now we can start fresh, together." Ryan pulled her into his arms, his heart full. "I don't think I could love you more than I do right now." Mia smiled through her tears. "We'll see about that." The days after the wedding marked a new chapter for Mia and Ryan. Despite the simplicity of their life together, there was a quiet joy in every moment they shared. But the outside world was far from quiet. News of their marriage spread like wildfire, and Ryan's family, true to form, didn't take it lightly. His mother, furious that he had gone through with the wedding, launched a public smear campaign. Gossip columns buzzed with stories painting Mia as a gold digger, a woman who had manipulated her way into Ryan's life for wealth and status. Every aspect of her past was dragged into the spotlight, twisted and exaggerated to fit their narrative. Mia tried to brush it off, focusing on her work and their small but growing home. But the weight of the scrutiny began to take its toll. She could feel the judgment in the stares of strangers when she walked down the street, hear the whispers when her name came up in conversations. Danny tried to shield her from the worst of it, but even he couldn't stop the stories from reaching her. One evening, as she sat on the couch, staring blankly at the TV, Ryan came home to find her unusually quiet. He set down his keys and approached her, concern etched across his face. "Mia," he said gently, sitting beside her. "What's wrong?" She shook her head, her voice trembling. "It's just everything. The rumors, the looks, the way people talk about me like I'm some kind of villain. I knew it would be hard, but I didn't think it would be this bad." Ryan reached for her hand, his grip steady and reassuring. "I'm so sorry, Mia. This is my family's doing. They're trying to punish me by hurting you. I don't care about their money or their name," she said, her voice breaking. "I just want us to have a chance. To be happy." Ryan cupped her face, his eyes locked on hers. "We will. I promise you we'll get through this." The next day, Ryan decided he'd had enough. He called a press conference, determined to put an end to his family's games once and for all. Standing in front of a small crowd of reporters, he spoke with a calm but firm resolve. "My family has tried to dictate my life for as long as I can remember," he began. "But I won't let them hurt the woman I love. Mia is not a gold digger. She's the most selfless, hardworking person I've ever met, and I'm proud to call her my wife." The reporters scribbled furiously as Ryan continued, his voice unwavering. "I've chosen to leave behind the Morrison name and everything that comes with it. I don't need their money or their approval to live my life. All I need is Mia, and I won't let anyone take that from me." The statement sent shockwaves through the media. Ryan's decision to sever ties with his powerful family was unprecedented, and it only fueled the intrigue surrounding their relationship. But for the first time, the narrative began to shift. People started to see Mia for who she really was, a woman who had won Ryan's heart not through manipulation, but through her kindness and strength. With the media frenzy slowly dying down, Ryan and Mia focused on building their new life together. Ryan used his savings to start a small consulting business, leveraging his skills to help local entrepreneurs. Mia, inspired by Ryan's determination, took a leap of her own and opened a small bakery, a dream she had nurtured for years but never thought possible. Their days were filled with hard work and long hours, but they found joy in the little things, sharing a meal after a busy day, watching movies on their old couch, and dreaming about the future they were creating together. Danny, now free from the financial burden of college, became a steady presence in their lives. He helped Mia with the bakery, using his youthful energy and creativity to attract customers. Watching her brother thrive, Mia felt a deep sense of pride and relief. For the first time in years, she no longer carried the weight of his future alone. One evening, as they sat together on the balcony of their modest apartment, Ryan turned to Mia, his expression thoughtful. "Do you ever regret it?" he asked quietly. "Regret what?" Mia replied, leaning into his side. "Choosing this," he said, gesturing to their small but cozy surroundings. "Walking away from everything I had to give this a shot." Mia smiled, her fingers intertwining with his. "Not for a second. This is more than I ever dreamed of, Ryan. Not because of the things we have, but because of the life we've built together." Ryan kissed her forehead, his heart full. "You've given me more than I ever thought possible, Mia. A life that's real. A life that matters." As the city lights twinkled in the distance, Mia rested her head on Ryan's shoulder, a sense of peace washing over her. Their journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth every struggle, every sacrifice. Together, they had found something far more valuable than wealth or status. They had found each other. And for the first time, Mia allowed herself to believe that their best days were still ahead. The weeks turned into months, and Ryan and Mia continued to grow into their new life together. Despite the challenges, they had found a rhythm, a partnership that was built on mutual respect, love, and unwavering support. Every day felt like a testament to their determination to rise above the obstacles thrown their way. Mia's bakery quickly became a neighborhood favorite. She poured her heart into every pastry, every loaf of bread, and every cup of coffee she served. Customers adored her warm demeanor and the personal touch she brought to her work. Danny, always brimming with ideas, helped set up a social media page for the bakery, drawing even more attention to their little shop. Ryan, too, found his footing. His consulting business flourished as he worked tirelessly to help small businesses navigate the complexities of the market. His clients appreciated his expertise and his genuine desire to see them succeed. Though the hours were long, the satisfaction of creating something meaningful kept him motivated. One evening, after a particularly busy day, Ryan and Mia sat in the bakery after closing, sharing a slice of cake and a pot of tea. The room was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the occasional clatter of dishes as Danny cleaned up in the back. "You know," Ryan said, breaking the comfortable silence, "I never thought I'd feel this fulfilled." Mia raised an eyebrow, a playful smile tugging at her lips. "Even with all the early mornings and late nights?" Ryan chuckled, leaning back in his chair. "Even with all that. I used to think success was about money, about having the biggest house and the most impressive title. But now I see it's about this. Building something real with the people you love." Mia's smile softened, and she reached across the table to take his hand. "I feel the same way. For so long, I thought I'd never have more than just getting by. But now, I feel like I'm finally living." Their moment was interrupted by Danny poking his head out of the kitchen. "Do you guys want me to lock up, or are you planning on staying here all night?" Mia laughed, waving him off. "We'll lock up. Go home and get some rest." Danny grinned and tossed them the keys before heading out, leaving them alone in the quiet shop. As they walked home that night, Ryan looked up at the sky, the stars twinkling faintly above the city lights. "I was thinking," he began, his tone casual but carrying an undercurrent of excitement. "Oh," Mia teased. "That tone means trouble." He laughed, nudging her playfully. "It's not trouble. I was just thinking about the bakery. You've done an amazing job with it, but what if we expanded? Opened another location? Or added a catering service?" Mia stopped walking, her eyes wide. "Are you serious?" "Completely," Ryan said, his enthusiasm growing. "You have a gift, Mia. People love your work. I think we could turn this into something even bigger." Mia hesitated, the idea both thrilling and daunting. "I don't know, Ryan. We're already so busy. And what if it's too much? What if we fail?" Ryan stepped closer, placing his hands on her shoulders. "Mia, you've faced harder challenges than this. If anyone can do it, it's you. And I'll be with you every step of the way." She searched his face, her fears slowly giving way to excitement. "You really think we can do this?" "I know we can," he said with a grin. Mia smiled, a spark of determination igniting within her. "But let's do it." The next few months were a whirlwind of planning, hard work, and a few sleepless nights, but their efforts paid off. With Ryan's business skills and Mia's talent and dedication, they opened a second location for the bakery. The new shop was an instant hit, drawing even more customers and solidifying Mia's reputation as a rising star in the community. Ryan's family, though still distant, began to take notice. Despite their initial disapproval, they couldn't ignore the success he and Mia had built from the ground up. One day, Ryan's father paid an unexpected visit to the bakery, his presence casting a shadow over the warm, bustling space. Ryan spotted him immediately, his jaw tightening. "What are you doing here?" he asked, his tone guarded. His father looked around, his expression unreadable. "I came to see for myself. To see what you've built." Ryan folded his arms, his stance firm. "And? What do you think?" His father paused, his gaze sweeping over the room before settling on Ryan. "I underestimated you," he admitted. "I thought you'd come crawling back, but you've proven me wrong." Ryan raised an eyebrow, surprised by the admission. "Is that supposed to be an apology?" "It's as close as you'll get," his father said with a faint smile. "For what it's worth, I'm proud of you. Of what you've done here." Ryan stared at him for a moment before nodding. "Thanks. But just so we're clear, I don't need your approval." "Not anymore." His father nodded, a glimmer of respect in his eyes. "Fair enough." As the years passed, Ryan and Mia continued to grow their business and their life together. They built a legacy not of wealth or power, but of love, community, and resilience. Their story became an inspiration to others, a testament to the power of perseverance and the courage to follow your heart. One evening, as they sat on their porch watching the sunset, Ryan turned to Mia, his expression soft. "Do you ever think about how far we've come?" Mia smiled, leaning her head on his shoulder. "All the time. And I wouldn't change a thing." Ryan kissed her forehead, his heart full. "Me neither." And as the sky turned shades of gold and pink, they sat together, knowing that the life they had built was everything they had ever dreamed of and more. The years brought challenges, triumphs, and moments that tested Mia and Ryan's resolve. Through it all, they remained steadfast, growing stronger together. Their love story became a cornerstone of the community they had built around their bakery and business ventures. One bright spring morning, Mia stood outside their third bakery location, holding a pair of scissors tied with a bright red ribbon. A small crowd of customers, friends, and neighbors had gathered to celebrate the grand opening. Ryan stood beside her, his hand resting on her back, his pride evident. "Are you ready for this?" he asked, leaning closer. Mia smiled, the excitement and nerves evident in her expression. "I never thought we'd get here." Ryan chuckled. "You deserve this, Mia. Every bit of it." Danny, now a college graduate and running the original bakery location, stepped forward with a mischievous grin. "Come on, Mia. Don't keep us waiting all day." Mia laughed, shaking her head as she cut the ribbon to a round of applause. The crowd cheered, and the doors to the new bakery opened, welcoming a flood of customers eager to experience the latest chapter of Mia's dream. Meanwhile, Ryan's decision to build his own life without his family's wealth had left lasting ripples within the Morrison household. Though they had initially tried to undermine him, his parents eventually recognized the value of his independence. They began to view Ryan's actions not as a betrayal but as a lesson in humility and resilience. Ryan's mother, still reserved but softened by time, sent a handwritten note to Mia months after the birth of their first child. The note was brief, acknowledging Mia's strength and apologizing for the pain she had caused. While it didn't erase the past, it was a small step toward healing. Ryan didn't seek reconciliation, but he allowed the possibility for the sake of their growing family. Mia and Ryan's family expanded in more ways than one. Their first child, a spirited daughter named Emma, brought an added layer of joy to their lives. Watching Mia balance motherhood and business filled Ryan with a deeper admiration for her. "You make it look so easy," Ryan said one evening as Mia cradled Emma on their living room couch. Mia smiled, brushing a lock of hair from her face. "It's not. But it's worth it." Emma grew up surrounded by the smells of freshly baked bread, the warmth of her parents' love, and the stories of how they built their life together. As she grew older, she became an integral part of the family business, inheriting her mother's determination and her father's creativity. Years later, Mia and Ryan stood at a community event held in the park where they had first dared to dream of a better future. Their bakery had sponsored the event, and the turnout was overwhelming. Families picnicked on the grass, children ran through the playground, and the scent of baked goods wafted through the air. As they watched the festivities, Mia turned to Ryan, her hand slipping into his. "Did you ever imagine this?" "Not in my wildest dreams," he admitted, his gaze sweeping over the crowd. "But I wouldn't trade it for anything." Their story had become more than just a personal journey. It was a beacon of hope for those who felt trapped by circumstance. People often approached them to share how their story inspired them to take risks, to believe in love, and to build something meaningful. On their 20th wedding anniversary, Mia and Ryan sat together on the porch of their home. Their children, Emma and her younger brother, Liam, had decorated the house with strings of lights and a banner that read 20 years of love and laughter. Mia held a scrapbook in her lap, filled with photos and memories from their journey. As she flipped through the pages, she paused on a photo from their first bakery opening. She smiled, tracing the edges of the picture with her finger. "We've come so far," she said softly. Ryan leaned over, resting his chin on her shoulder. "And we're just getting started." She laughed, shaking her head. "Always the dreamer." "Always," he replied, pressing a kiss to her temple. As the stars came out that night, Mia and Ryan sat surrounded by their family and friends, their laughter filling the air. Their journey had been anything but conventional, but it had been theirs, a testament to the power of love, resilience, and the courage to defy expectations. And as they looked out at the faces of the people they had touched, they knew their story was far from over. It was simply the beginning of a legacy that would continue to inspire for generations to come. The final chapter. As life unfolded, Ryan and Mia continued to grow not just as individuals but as partners, parents, and leaders in their community. Their journey was marked by milestones big and small, each one a testament to their love and perseverance. But what stood out most was the way they gave back to the people who had become an extension of their family. The legacy of giving. One of their most ambitious projects came years later, inspired by Mia's early struggles and Ryan's desire to make a difference. Together, they launched a foundation aimed at helping single parents and young entrepreneurs achieve their dreams. The foundation offered mentorship, grants, and opportunities for those who had the determination but lacked the resources to succeed. Mia often spoke at events, sharing her story with honesty and vulnerability. Her words resonated with audiences, and she became a symbol of hope for countless people who felt trapped by their circumstances. "I never imagined I'd be standing here," Mia said at one such event, her voice steady but emotional. "But if there's one thing I've learned, it's that where you start doesn't have to define where you end up. With the right people by your side and the courage to keep going, anything is possible." The crowd erupted into applause, and Ryan watched from the side of the stage, his heart swelling with pride. She was everything he had always known she could be, and more. The full circle moment. Years later, as Emma prepared to leave for college, Mia and Ryan found themselves reflecting on the journey that had brought them to this moment. Emma had chosen to study business and entrepreneurship, inspired by her parents' story and eager to carry on their legacy. The night before Emma's departure, the family gathered for a quiet dinner at home. As they sat around the table, laughter and stories filled the air, but there was a bittersweet undertone as everyone grappled with the change ahead. After dinner, Emma hugged her parents tightly. "You've shown me what it means to work hard and love deeply," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I hope I can make you proud." "You already have," Ryan said, his voice thick with emotion. "You always will." Looking back, looking forward. As their children grew and started families of their own, Mia and Ryan's love deepened in ways they hadn't thought possible. Their home became a gathering place for holidays and celebrations, filled with the laughter of grandchildren and the warmth of shared memories. One evening, as they sat on the porch of their home, watching the sun dip below the horizon, Ryan turned to Mia, his expression thoughtful. "Do you ever think about that night? The first time I walked into the restaurant?" he asked. Mia smiled, her eyes distant but fond. "All the time. I still can't believe you kept coming back." "I didn't stand a chance," Ryan said with a chuckle. "You had me hooked from the start." Mia laughed softly, leaning into his side. "And to think, I almost told you to stop bothering me." "I'm glad you didn't," Ryan said, pressing a kiss to her temple. "Because everything we've built together, is more than I ever could have imagined." As the stars began to twinkle above them, Mia and Ryan sat in comfortable silence, their hands intertwined. Their journey hadn't been easy, but it had been worth every challenge, every sacrifice, and every moment of doubt. Their story wasn't just about love. It was about resilience, growth, and the belief that, no matter where you start, you have the power to create a life filled with purpose and joy. And as they sat together, looking out at the life they had built, they knew their story would live on, not just in their memories, but in the hearts of everyone they had touched along the way.